Moving on to the men right quick, what's going on right now. This, with Wake beating Syracuse, sitting Jim Boeheim into retirement.
Yep.
Pitt beating Georgia Tech, Carolina curb stomping the hell out of Boston College right now. Virginia Tech and NC State playing later tonight. Which, of course, Carolina, it goes without saying that they have to at least beat Boston College with their own way of doing that.
Yep.
It's impossible that they have to beat Virginia for a second time to be secured the NCAA tournament spot.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a variety of takes on that.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with North Carolina is those Q1 wins. They don't have any.
Right,
That's a
right.
problem. And but I think they're over 500 in the ACC.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly, they couldn't have lost today. I mean, if they would have lost
Right,
today, I don't think anyone could have been able to argue them in.
right.
But their net is somewhere. I think it's in the high 40s. I feel like the win tonight gives them a pretty decent chance to get in. But
Right.
not a we're looking at like last four in type thing. If they
Mm-hmm.
were just win tonight and not win tomorrow. If they want to ensure that they get a bid, it would take knocking off for Virginia. I think that the tournament wants to have North Carolina in, and you'd still have a pretty decent record, 20-12.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw them play against Alabama when they were at one of their biggest struggle points of the season. Take Alabama to 4 overtimes. I mean, they really should have won that game. So I mean,
Yeah.
they're an NCAA tournament caliber team who played well at the end of the season, beat Virginia um, at home,
Right.
had a chance with Duke, who is probably the hottest team in the ACC. So I think North Carolina is not in the baddest shape as some people make it out to be. I think the win tonight will sneak them into the tournament, but it's no guarantee. If they want to, guarantee themselves a spot, they'll win. They'll take care of business against Virginia tomorrow.
Yeah, I think Virginia's the only quad one win. And
Yeah, that win keeps teetering from like being a quad one, yes or no, because of the way
right,
Virginia's win. I think the last I looked, it wasn't, but it might be one tomorrow.
right, might be because the best win before the Virginia game was when they hosted NC State way back when. So I would say this about Carolina, but they have one good thing going in their favor, unfortunately, because I hate the Tar Heels. Um, they don't have any bad losses. That's the big thing that's helping right now. They don't have any really bad loss. I mean, yeah, they lost at Boston College earlier this season, if I'm not mistaken, but they don't have any really bad quad four losses, if I recall correctly. So that's helping them at least.
Yeah, you're right about that. And I'm just looking now, and so the Virginia win just became a quad one. They're 1-9 against the quad one. Quad
Mm-hmm.
two, they have a pretty good record, 6-3, and then like you said, they have no bad losses with a net of 49 and an RPI of 43. That's why I don't think they're in nearly as bad a shape as some people are making them out to be. They did win their last 3 games
Right.
prior to the Duke game, which was competitive. So I mean, they're gonna, the worst they could go into Selection Sunday is winners of 4 of their last 6.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but if they want to just seal it, you know absolutely locked into the tournament, uh,
Yeah.
they got to win tomorrow. But I think just tonight puts them on the bubble, but and there haven't been a lot of like huge upsets.
That's
In the
correct.
mid-major level,
Right.
there haven't been a bunch of bid stealers, so that works in North Carolina's favor too.
Exactly. That's a very good point because there hadn't been hardly any upsets, if any, so far in the mid majors. So yeah, I've been keeping an eye on that as well for the sake of the league
And I
having
mean,
so many teams in.
and another thing that's working that worked in North Carolina's favor is the last I looked was Ohio State was beating Wisconsin, and that's one of North Carolina's non-conference wins. And Ohio State struggled during the Big Ten schedule, but
Yeah,
anytime Ohio State or Michigan can win a game, that
hmm
only can help. That can only help North Carolina.
Exactly. That's a good point too. You know, they had, both had down years, but that's those two things to keep an eye on. But I'll
Exactly.
say, I'll,
And
I'll
then
ask this, man. Oh, go. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll add one more thing, and with
Mhm.
Ohio State, who's not going to make the tournament unless they win the Big Ten tournament. With their win over Wisconsin, they've eliminated Wisconsin from the tournament. You know,
Mhm.
Wisconsin was a team that they probably didn't need to win the Big Ten tournament to get a bid, but they probably had to win two or three. But now
Yeah.
they're not even on the bubble. So,
Yeah.
pretty good night for the Tar Heels so far.
Right. That's bad news for Wake Forest potentially because that was Wake Forest's biggest one early in the year. I'll get to Wake Forest in a minute.
Yep.
But we're talking about Carolina having to make some noise in this conference tournament. It's crazy to say this, but even though they came in as the number 3 seed, this team is coming in as the number 3 seed, and one of the owners of the double buys, Clemson is not as secure as what people may believe, depending on who you talk to. So, does Clemson have to win, have to be out of Virginia Tech or NC State to secure a spot in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I mean, Clemson is a really kind of a weird case. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, they're 22-9. They have 4 quad one wins, 3-2 against the quad two. So with quad one and quad two wins, they have the quad one record that North Carolina wants and would like to have, but they have 2 quad four losses. They have a couple of
Yes.
atrocious losses on their
Mm-hmm.
resume. I mean, they lost to South Carolina, which can kind of be forgiven because that was PJ Hall's, I think, first game back and on the road. But then you have this horrendous bad loss to Loyola Chicago, and they got blown out
Yes,
that
yes.
game. And here's the one that I think if they would have won this game, they wouldn't even be talking about being on the bubble, was losing at Louisville. They win that
Yeah.
game and they go into the ACC tournament winners of 5 of their last 6 games with their only loss at Virginia. But losing to Louisville, I mean, that was worse than losing to Loyola Chicago. I
I don't
mean,
understand that, dude. They got smashed at Louisville too. It wasn't close.
yeah, they lost by double digits, and I don't think there was a point in the second half that you felt like Clemson could win that game. And Louisville's metrics are so awful. I mean, it just wrecks a resume
Yeah.
when you lose to them. And so Clemson is just an intriguing case because they've won on the road. They've got good wins. They won at Pittsburgh. They beat Duke at home. Um, I know they had another pretty solid. Oh yeah, they had the big win. I'm sorry, against NC State where they played fantastic. Uh,
Right.
I think Clemson is probably not in at the moment on the bubble for sure, but I think they need a win. At least if they win against the winner of NC State and Virginia Tech, I think they'll be in the field.
Interesting. That's a good observation. I think Pitt's in.
I think
They
Pitt's
have.
in too.
I think Pitt's in. They beat Georgia Tech. They don't. They have good amount of quad one wins as well. I remember Jeff Capel belly aching about the lack of respect. But hey, they swept Carolina. They no one saw them in the top half of the ACC before the season started, let alone finishing 5th in the conference when they were at the top for great portions of the regular season. So props to Jeff Capel and Pitt. So I think Pitt's in. I think obviously Duke is in. Miami's in. Virginia's in, obviously. So that's 4. I think Carolina's in with this big win over Boston College. I think NC State's in. That's 6. So which leaves us with Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. Now, Virginia Tech had a pretty decent out of conference record. Like the start of the season, they just got injuries, just ravaged the hell out of them.
Right.
So I think they're what? I think they did they sit at 18 wins right now before tonight's game with NC State? I think they're sitting at 18 wins.
They got 19 after the
19.
win yesterday, but I think for Virginia Tech and Wake Forest, I think they've got to win the ACC
Yeah.
tournament. At the very least, to even sniff the bubble, they got to get to the finals. They just lost, especially in Virginia Tech's case, they just lost too many ACC games, and Wake
Yeah.
Forest doesn't have enough quality victories. I think at the very least to get on the bubble, they got to get to Saturday, and I really think either one of them has to win the tournament.
Yeah, I agree. I think we shared a prayer right there. So, which basically means that we got the men. I think we're looking at 6 squads qualifying for the tournament, which is better than what we would imagine before the season started, right? And certainly before the last ACC Big Ten challenge, which the ACC dominated, just out of the blue, just dominated, which was a harbinger of things to come as far as Big Ten basketball goes. I mean, Big Ten hasn't been that great basketball this season. Let's just be honest. But I definitely see 6 squads. I see Miami, Duke, Pitt, Virginia, Carolina, and NC State. I see those 6 definitely. Clemson, I'm not so sure yet, but I definitely see at least 6 squads headed to the NCAA tournament.
But they just put up a graphic on TV. Maybe I don't know if it was correct. Actually, they had North Carolina playing Clemson in the second round. I'm actually not sure that's correct.
Yeah, I don't think that. two conference foes playing the second round that early in the tournament. I can see Switch 16 maybe, but yeah, that's kind of bizarre.
Let's see. Yeah, I think that graphic they just showed on TV was not right, because you go to the ACC site and it's Virginia against the game 6 winner, which was Boston College, North Carolina.
Yeah, okay. Interesting. All right. So yeah, so I think we're sharing a brain. I think we're looking at 8 to 9, probably 8 women's squads, squads from the women's side, and probably 6 from the men's side. Again, better than what many people are expected from the men's side, including yours truly, and I'm sure you as well.